Well, we were expecting it, weren't we? But it dropped yesterday, and I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I have to say, after I finished watching Microsoft's press event at E3, I actually was jumping up and down in the aisles over this one. You all know what I'm going to be talking about, and it's the Scorpio. I watched the rest of the event, and it was okay, fairly solid. Not a huge amount of new stuff. A couple of bits of hardware that were interesting, some changes to the software of the Xbox and so on. But the big thing was kept till last, and obviously the Scorpio is the big news. And if it's not the biggest news of E3, there's something seriously wrong, because this thing's a monster. What I want to talk about first, though, for a little bit, is to give us a little bit of perspective. I want to talk about the Xbox One S, because there's a couple of things in that I think come into play with the Scorpio as well. Now, the Xbox One S is going to be 40% smaller. It's got a power brick inside it, not on the outside like with the original Xbox One. It's going to handle HDR gaming, that's high dynamic range gaming. It's going to have a 4K UHD Blu-ray player in it, and it's going to have an IR blaster, which means you can use infrared remote without having Kinect, which might be good for some people. I'm not that bothered about that. But, it's looking good. I actually think that the Xbox One S is not a bad little console, especially if you haven't got an Xbox One and are looking to get into it. Especially as we know that the Scorpio is going to be able to play all the games when it comes out as well. So you can start building your catalogue with the Xbox One S or the original Xbox. And then when the Scorpio comes out, you'll have a readily available catalogue of games that you can just put into your Xbox Drive or download again to your new Xbox Scorpio, and away you go, ready to play. Because those games, hopefully, and the way it's being presented, they should be scalable. We'll need a bit more information about that, but hopefully that's going to be the case. And I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. Obviously, the newer games are going to look even better, I would imagine. But there's no reason why they can't be patched. I mean, this is basically PC architecture we're talking about. But that leads me into talking about the Scorpio directly. And the first thing we can assume is that it'll also have HDR gaming, 4K video streaming, and most likely a 4K Blu-ray player as well. I can't imagine that they'll drop that with the Scorpio, given that this is going to be a premium product. We'll have to wait and see what the prices are going to be. But then we get to its actual gaming prowess, and the graphical hardware inside this thing is an absolute monster, honestly. I was laughing at the end of this press conference. I was so happy. A 6 teraflop graphical capability within a gaming console. And let's put that into perspective. Only the brand new NVIDIA 1080 can handle this, along with the Titan X. There's the 1070 as well, which is kind of on a par. But the 1080 and the Titan X push out more than that, more than 6 teraflops. Certainly the 1080 can push out more when it's boosted. But for a gaming console, and I know, okay, it's a year away, but crying out loud, it's going to be pushing native, get this, not upscaled, native 4K. And Phil Spencer said that native 4K is going to be at 60 frames per second. Now, that's one area where I kind of balked a bit, and I'm thinking, is it really going to handle 60 frames per second at 4K? That might be pushing it a bit, but nevertheless, this is still a monster. I mean, PCs are struggling to push out 4K at 60 FPS. If it can push out 4K at 30 FPS or 1440 at 60, a gaming console that can do that? I mean, come on, this is mental. It's just, wow. I have to say, it's amazing. It's got 320 gigabits a second of memory bandwidth, and that compared to the PS4, which is around 176 gigabits a second, and the PS4 Neo, which is touted at around 218 gigabits a second. So that's considerably more on that one. It's got an 8-core CPU. Well, that's nothing new. That's what the PS4 and the Xbox One have got. So we'll be looking at what it's clocked at, really, to see if that's got any more CPU grunt. But graphically is where where things are struggling in this generation, it seems to me. And the 6 teraflops is just, well, what can I say? So yeah, we've already covered that it can do 4K streaming, HDR gaming. And if you look at this, the fact that all these games that we're buying currently are going to be compatible with the Scorpio. This is not a new generation of console. This is in effect souping up the console so it handles what's currently there at a much higher res and much smoother and more fluid gameplay. Plus, also moving forward, there's the opportunity to build games that will work at a much higher frame rate or a higher resolution out of the box. And obviously, they'll have to be able to work on the previous versions of the Xbox, and we know that. But given, like I say, this is pretty much PC architecture, there's no reason why that shouldn't be scalable. Absolutely not. And so I'm sorry you can hear. I keep laughing about this. This is just a monster. This thing's an absolute monster. And, Phil Spencer has stated in the past that, his music, his films, they play across all his devices. And he wanted that for gaming. And this, to me, it seems like the beginning of Phil Spencer laying down his vision for the future of Xbox. And I said in a previous video, when everyone was getting all up in arms about games coming to the PC that were supposed to be Xbox exclusives, oh, this is going to be the end of Xbox. And I said at the time, I thought quite the opposite. I thought this was a consolidation of the Xbox brand. And we'd be looking to the future, we'd be looking at moving forward across multiple devices. And, a lot of people didn't seem to understand what was going on with that. And I think we're seeing the beginning of this starting to come to fruition now. And I think once the Scorpio drops, assuming that, it doesn't drop the ball between now and holiday 2017, I'll definitely be lining up for this one. I think this is a really exciting development. And I think anyone who isn't excited about this, whether you're a PlayStation fan or whether you're an Xbox fan or you're a PC gamer, this is an exciting development. I don't care what you say. You've got to be excited about a gaming console that can do 6 teraflops and push out native 4K. You've got to be. You've got to be. Microsoft have whacked down a marker on the table and said, over to you, Sony. So yeah, over to you, Sony. Let's see what you've got. This is getting interesting. All right, that's me done. I'm going to go away and cogitate on this a little bit more. But as I say, and you can tell, I'm pretty happy about this. And if you're going to be cynical about this, then you might as well not be a gamer. This is a good day for gaming as far as I'm concerned. All right, I'll speak to you guys again soon. Bye.